Hello, beautiful, beautiful human being. Welcome back to All Mama All Right. It's quite sunny inside, so I thought I should keep my hat on. And as you can see, it's shading my face, so I won't get burnt by this great light above. No, I don't know why I'm still wearing a hat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We had a great day. Let's see, another freaking gorgeous day here in the Carmel Valley area. Unfortunately, there are fires happening in Big Sur at the moment, and we pray for all those families who are being evacuated. I know there are a couple schools here in the valley that are housing some of the evacuated people. And this is definitely a community that rallies. And unfortunately, we are no stranger to fires. When we were actually looking, there were fires going on here in the valley. And one of the homes that we were considering to stay in, they were hit. So it is, there's evacuation trails around our neighborhood. And the second that fires were happening over in Big Sur, the neighbors on next door, everyone started getting pinged. So yeah, another, just love reason for living in a small town or out of the city. And yeah, so thinking a lot about those people. And just kind of, again, I always come in to the day, not necessarily in front of my camera, ready to record an episode with topic in mind. That's one of the things I've been doing, is trying to decide on a topic the night before, and then allowing my brain write a script, my brain and my heart and my or write a script while sleeping. And that usually works. It's been working. It's been fun, actually, kind of waking up and like, oh, okay, feeling solid in this topic. Thank you, brain, for doing all the hard work while I was sleeping. And then something happened today, and I just want to kind of tap back into it, because I think God's just pounding on my door saying, I will throw abundance your way in so many areas of your life, but you have to be willing to turn over your control when it comes to your eating disorder. And the reason I say that is because, besides, I feel I've addressed, what I currently experience with my eating disorder and how it came to be, and still, working heavily with my therapist and really tuning into my little girl. But I do think that there's a lot more work to do with her, and then also my relationship to how I see myself as a mom and being there as an example for Zenna. Today, what came through is our landlords. So how we found this home, it's kind of a really, meant to be type story. We were ready to move out of the city. There was nothing on the market in Carmel Monterey Bay area. And so Aaron and I started reaching out to homes on VRBO, and oh my gosh, I'm totally Airbnb. I don't know why I wanted to call it AMA, which is All Mama All Right. But started reaching out to homes on Airbnb and VRBO. Excuse me, and that's how we found this home. Excuse me, by the way. That's how we found this home. And so we have become pretty close with our landlords, because they're just original homeowners of this place, and they've never been landlords until us. And so it's just a beautiful home. It's all their furniture, their amazing artwork. This is one of my faves. Da, da, da. Yeah, she's nice. And so there's 2 units to the house. There's this home, which is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, quite perfect size for us. And then there's a unit up front when you first pull in that looks like the actual house. Is this making any sense? It may not, but they sometimes stay in the upstairs unit or the other home unit. There's 2 homes put together but separated. I swear it makes more sense in my head than it does out of my mouth. But they sometimes stay in the other home, and they happen to have some family friends, or some of their friends' family members are staying there. The reason being is, so this friend is actually a neighbor that lives in the neighborhood, so just right up the hill and then over to the left, and lived here for 30 plus years, like our landlords, and they're really good friends. And so they have family in town because their mother is dying, and heartbreaking already. And the reason their mother is dying from an eating disorder. So this is one of our landlord's really good friends. And so, and I'm not asking for any of this information. I literally am about to leave the house to head to Garland to go on a hike with the 2 dogs, because Aaron was hanging out with Zenna. And she just decide, brings us up, like, hey, we have family friends staying here, and the reason is their mother is a really good friend of mine, and she lives up the street, and she's dying. They just took her off the feeding tube because she's dying from an eating disorder. She's telling me, like, as a friend, that she's had to witness this her entire friendship with her, that and what just broke my heart is, like, I met one of the daughters, and you could tell on her face that it was no surprise. They knew that this would come one day, that they were not surprised that it was happening, and you can just tell the utmost, just the sadness of how it could have been prevented. Meaning, I don't know what the mother's relationship could have been, or I don't know if she was working on her eating disorder at all, or if she just totally never did, or if at one point she just threw her hands up and said, okay, I surrender to the eating disorder, and I will just never, allow myself to be saved. But for those, like, you just don't know, because ultimately what happens when you're not getting enough nutrients, your organs stop working, and that happens over time. So yeah, right now I feel healthy and I'm active, and I was able to get pregnant and have Zenna, and the birth was great, and stayed healthy. And but I don't know, I'm not, like, getting religiously tested to see if my kidneys are at par for someone who's not struggling with an eating disorder for the past umpteen amount of years of their lives, or how my liver's doing. And especially my liver, man, I mean, I was destroying it with vodka for how many years? Too many years, in my opinion. I mean, if you think about the amount of liquor that I consumed in such a short amount of time probably equates to the amount of liquor that a 75-year-old may drink over a long period of time. So again, like, what does that do in the long run? And it just something, I can't get it out of my mind, and it's scaring me. It's scaring me to food, or to what's a good way to put that? Like, when we are alcoholics, we get scared sober. This is like, I'm scared out of not eating, or scared out of not restricting. I can't. I mean, I just started, tearing up, thinking like, this could be at some point how Zenna is seeing me. And not necessarily that, because I am not livid, but I am going to recover from this. I mean, I am, like, my mind is set, and my heart is set, and my soul, just my full entire body. And yet I still have, certain episodes and certain behaviors. And I know that is because it takes time. It takes practice. It takes unconditional love and patience and kindness to myself, that is so much harder to give to me than it is me giving to somebody else. And yeah, and after, she shared that, and it wasn't, and how my landlord said that to me, it was almost like she could see that I was going through stuff. And not in a, oh, I think you look like you have an ED, because, who knows if there's a look to it. But you could tell, I could tell there was just a feeling of, God speaking through my landlord. And then I've never seen an actual, well, I didn't see the mom, but like, I've never witnessed and seen a daughter who's about to lose a mother to a disease that could have, that I could die from. Let's just say it, that I could die from. And that, dude, that really freaks me out. And I believe that God does not see that for me, but I think this is like like, kind of like that, not the final straw, because I don't think God gives you those, but just, when only so many signs and pokes and, things can be uh, aimed towards you, and you're getting them slowly and surely, but you're not getting them maybe fast enough, or God's just like, oh my gosh, turn it over, because you're not going to gain 1,000,000 pounds. You're not going to be unlovable. You're not going to lose every relationship. You're not going to, go back into a depression. Because what I think is so scary, that I tend to hold on to, is when I was in the deepest depths of my disease, my senior year of college. I think that was the deepest. It got pretty deep at times. But I had gained a ton of weight. And so literally the only way I was able to get out of bed without, because when I really wanted to kill myself, it was when I was overweight. And that is why I think gaining weight, I associate so much with wanting to kill myself. Because it not necessarily was the drinking, it was the external out of control that now people could see that I was suffering. And before, I was able to hide it because I had this external control. I was in control of it. And so that's why I have this completely morphed sense of what gaining weight is, and 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 how I put everything bad to it. Just there's nothing good about it, which is not true. It's just not true. And thinking that if certain things go in my body, it leads to ultimate gaining of weight, which is bad, which is suicide, which is death. So if you can't tell, I have a bunch of light bulbs just are going off in my head, and I'm so thankful that I have my therapist tomorrow at 10 a.m. because I am going to jump into this and really, really work on it, because that just makes so much sense as to why, even when I'm having like good weeks and good, good days, let's just start with that. If one thing goes wrong, or I feel like I'm quote unquote gaining weight, or my like certain body check areas, I'm sure there are some head nods going on here, but I check certain parts of my body, and it's totally habit. By this point, it's complete habit. But like, I do like an arm check, and then I do like a side check, and like a this check. And if I feel like the certain things are a little, out of proportion than they were the day before, or, uh, then I worry. I go straight to worry, and that goes straight to needing control, and that goes straight to, restriction. And then I usually backtrack. It's usually one step forward, two steps back, three steps forward, five steps back, which is all part of the journey. And I think this just today, and not only learning about that relationship with the neighbor and her daughter, but also with my landlord. And she talked about losing her son, how her son passed away. And so that's another thing, like just a what if Zenna, I can't even, I'm not even gonna, yeah, but it's just another sign and direction that I can call in. I have to be able and have the willingness to release and let go of all the blockers, all the control, in order to receive and really feel and accept all of the abundance and everything that is meant to come. Because otherwise it's not worth it. I mean, why would God want to present all this abundance to someone who's ultimately slowly killing themselves, when they think when they're just, I'm just so close. It's like I'm so close to turning everything over, but I'm still holding on to the control. I still, and this is when the insane brain, like that we talk about in AA, you can't think when you're slightly insane. And my brain right now is slightly insane from all of the coping, and how I felt like I needed to survive from the day that man put his hands on my tummy and said, "You have a baby belly." I felt like there was a certain way that I needed to control and cope with my existence as a female in the world, never allowing myself to have anything close to a baby belly. And therefore has led to restriction in so many areas of my life. And yes, I am so ready. I think I'm just, y'all are here and bringing me so many ahas, and I feel the Me Too's. Even though I can't see your heads nodding, I know that what I'm sharing I'm sharing because I need to hear it. You need to hear it. I'm not alone in this, and I I know that I'm gonna just keep collecting all of these signs and wisdom and nuggets, all the good stuff, and just keep sharing it because I don't want to die. And I don't care if I'm sounding dramatic because what I heard today is a real life situation that is happening literally right up the street. And for some reason, I didn't, you hear about it, but you don't see it. And seeing the daughter is just, you know, she was disappointed. She seemed really just, knowing that she now has to watch her mom pass. And it's because like they took out the feeding tube because her mom didn't want the feeding tube in because feeding tubes have calories. Like I know, and as some of you might say, well, that's crazy. But for someone who has been struggling with eating disorder, it's not something that's too crazy. When you think, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details, but it's if you've conditioned your entire life to knowing how many calories are in every single thing that goes in your body, it's really hard to erase that, and it's even harder to accept it and try and really reconstruct your entire psyche and vision and like your taste towards nutrition. And I think it's going to be beautiful how I will really allow God to show me the beauty that he wants me to see in building a relationship with food and self, and primarily my body. I mean, it literally, like, it has to be, because it is the only vessel I get, and it is a vessel that I want to take freaking care of, especially if I want to carry another kiddo, at least one more child. I mean, that's a huge fear. I have a checkup coming up, and I want it. I really, I don't want, I'm just going to say it. If they say that I'm not going to be able to have kids because of what I'm doing to my body, I'm just going to like flip a switch and like really want to hurt myself. But I have tools. I have tools. And that's for calling all of you. No, I have my people, but that would be really hard to hear. And I know that that's the best thing I can do is just, I really can't get down on myself, because I know that it's something that, I mean, they call it an eating disorder and, disease for a reason. And the hardest part about this disease is that, you have to eat to live, as I'm witnessing, right up the street. And it's worth fighting for. Yeah. And I just really want to break it, because I don't want this to go to Zenna. I don't want it to go to her because of certain actions and certain behaviors that I know I'm ready to give up, and that she doesn't need to see, because, food should be celebrated, eating should be joyful, and I want her to be able to like what she likes, not like what she doesn't like, have our outings, and her not be her mom, just get nervous around certain foods, or especially body. I want her to like freaking love her body so much that, heck, if she wants to wear that skanky ass top to to school, I will let her wear that skanky ass top to school. So I'll be like, damn, my kid is confident as heck. But I'm sure her father will have other opinions about that. And I am just so grateful that God is not giving up on me and just, you know, not so gently, sorry, my nose, not so gently giving me those, the wake up calls, the little alarms, and ultimately just how amazing will it be to have the freedom and quiet the mind and really just start living a life that I've never lived without the control, the worry, the negative self-talk, just the peace. It's going to be awesome. And I cannot wait. And I can't wait for y'all to be on the journey with me. And I'm here for you, bazillion %. And I know that we can do this. So who's ready? Who's ready? Ah, that breath felt good. Well, alrighty. Well, that's not where I thought the conversation would go, but I felt like I needed to open up about that and get that off my chest. And as a mama, it is something that I am working on the daily to just better, just do better, and just to feel better. Not necessarily do, just to feel and know that I'm taken care of. And yeah, so are you. And on that note, this mama is signing off. Alrighty, y'all, all the love and light.